Hello everyone. So I saw some people trying to guess how does this transfer case, how does it control the torque split between front wheels and rear wheels, and how does it work? Because some people say like you have a fuse, right? Four-wheel drive. Actually, it says four-wheel drive, but it doesn't matter, I guess. So if you pull it off, what's gonna happen? Like, will it affect this transfer case or not? So this is what I want to talk about here. So if you take a look at like this assembly and try to see what wires are coming to this, you will quickly find out. But there's just two wires which are coming. I mean, not a wire, but harness, I don't know, whatever you call it. So one is coming to this pressure sensor, and the second comes to goes to this oil pump, nothing else. So as you understand, probably yes, pressure sensor cannot control anything, it's just a sensor. So any control you might have over this case is achieved by this pump. So like some people say, probably like this pump, like creates some pressure, and this pressure like maybe squeezes something. So this is a clutch assembly, right? So something should be like compressing the plates in this case, just because of the pressure which this pump creates. So that's only source of control you have over this clutch assembly, nothing else. And because of this, I would like to go through these details, these parts, and show you what they are and why you don't have any control over this basket. I might be wrong, of course, but as far as I see, there is no control. So this pump, it's my guess, it's my speculation. This pump just circles for, I don't know how you would call this, right? So just lubricates all the parts. This is what it does and nothing else, but we'll see. Okay, so first part which we can see is this, I don't know, hub, whatever you call it. So this is an output hub to rear wheels, nothing interesting, right? The next one, this is just I don't know, seal. Let me pull it. Nothing else, just like a rubber seal. So it goes here, right? That's it. So it cannot create any pressure or anything over here, right? The next one is bearing. So this one, you might not see, but this bearing, it sits in this casting I don't know, part, right? And it cannot be moved by any means. Of course you can pull it off, but oil cannot push it like against the friction plates, which is located somewhere over here. So it does not move, of course, which makes sense. So the next one, I'm going to show you these parts, and I need to remove like this cover, right? Okay, come off. Yeah. So put it here. So plastic oil guider and plastic filter, I've presented them in the previous video, and I think you would agree with me, they don't create any pressure, because this is just a tube, this is a metal mesh. There's nothing to yeah, there's nothing to use them. There's no way to use them. So the next one, this is a piston. If you take a look at specification, it says piston, and some people say like it squeezes, right? Pressure. I mean metal discs. So this is the piston, and if you, I don't know, think it can be moved here, like, I don't know, like you can like lower, rise it, I don't know how would you say this. No, you cannot. So it's compressed into this casting cap, right? it cannot be moved. The reason why it's here and why it's not the part of this casting, because they had to bore some holes in this cap, right? Like this hole over here and some other holes, just to make gathers to pass in oil. And this is one of the reason why you can see it here. Of course, this has a bearing surface. I mean, one of the bearings like lays here, then basket stays here. Let me grab the basket. Okay, so this is the clutch assembly, and sorry for auto exposure, I mean overexposure. I need this so you can able to see these tips, right? Yeah, it's okay. All right, so let me assemble it. It goes here. This is how it works. So oil is pumped over here, right where my finger is. I mean where the end of my finger. Of course, you have a shaft here, right? But oil is pumped around the shaft, and the oil goes through these discs, friction disc and steel discs, and exits through these holes. This hole, that one, etc. And then it goes here to the rest part of the transfer case. So if you think like this oil, which is pumped by a pump, right, will create any pressure on these discs, well, probably it does. I mean, yes, but I don't think it's quite enough pressure. First of all, you have to squeeze discs. I mean, you have to press against them. I mean, in this direction, right? In this direction. You should not like just pump oil inside of this case. You have to press on it. And if you disassemble some other transfer cases from other like BMW vehicles, you will see some mechanism which does this, which squeezes that. Obviously we don't have anything over here. All we have just spring and this one, which is stuck because I didn't put a bearing. So all we have is this. And spring, I don't know, well, it allows you to have some gap between these friction plates, right? It separates this gap from the top metal disc. So if you squeeze it like really hard, you will remove this space, this distance. Yeah, as I was showing you before. So this is the maximum like distance you can achieve. I don't know if you can rotate the friction plates right now if you squeeze them as hard as you want, but if you ever move with like this cap from the basket, if you slightly move it like this, you have some movement. So can I install the ring? Yes, I can. So like, I don't know, it's tight, right? This is what I want to say. It's tight package. So probably oil can create some pressure over here. Probably it does, but it's not thanks to this piston which you think creates some pressure. Of course it can create some pressure, right, when it assembles like this, because this piston is pushing against this cap and it squeezes the spring which located is over here. Of course, yeah, you're right, but this is a constant pressure applied to the friction plates, constant one. And if you want some control over this case, you have to change it, and yeah, just pump. That's it. You have. That's nothing else. So what else we have? I mean, brake parts. So this is a piston. Oh, sorry. this is a piston I was talking about. Again, this is a bearing, this cap which I was speaking about, right? Spring, first metal disc, then clutch assembly, and then the bearings, so nothing else. So I don't know, guys, if you think you can control it, great, but I don't know. Yeah, probably this is how you do this, by pumping an oil inside, right, and creating some pressure, but I don't know. That's all I wanted to show you. Thank you. And as a bonus, what if we install this spring, a cap, and squeeze it hard, really hard, like the maximum size, maximum distance which we can squeeze with the spring? Will we have some movement for the plates or not? Let's find out. Alright, so sorry for this bulky setup, but I did what I could. I mean, I inserted the pieces of my spring between this cap and basket. I compressed with cap against the basket right in the points where we have spring, and this piece goes here and it stays in this move. So like we have a maximum force applied to the cap, right? So let's see if we can move some. No, we cannot. It doesn't move. So let's put something thicker, yeah, like this washer. It's slightly thicker than the spring, and I will change it and we will get back. Okay, so I did it, but let me show you what has changed. So the original height of the spring is this. It's in millimeters, and the washer I installed is 59, so roughly 0.4, right? And in this case, I don't know if you can see this. Let me change it. This magnification. Yeah, I think you will be able. So I can move them. I mean, I can insert my I don't know how you call it, right? I can move them aside. It's possible, it's doable. But let me get back to original spring and we'll see what we can do. Alright, so we are back with the spring installed over here, right? One spring and the second one. Okay, let's be careful. Okay, it's working, and let's try to move it. Well, I know it's hard for you to see. Yeah, what about this? Well, much harder. It's much harder. So I would say, like, this, the original spring is the maximum distance you can squeeze the discs. Plus, if you remember, in few discs, friction plates, I don't have any friction material. So if you add this distance, probably you won't, or I won't be able to move them, even if the washer, which is thicker than the spring. So I don't know. There's not much room to move them, and again, yeah, it's up to you to judge. Okay, and bonus number 2. I thought, like, why not to install it as it should be installed? Here, all disc plates, spring, of course, bearing, and this cover. And if we do this, at least from here, this is the gap we have, right? And this is due to spring, which we have to compress. So I will tighten all the bolts around this cap and we'll see how it works. What the gap we have, because we can rotate it and see over here what do we have here. So let's do this. Alright, so I did it. There is no gap as you can see, and let me adjust the exposure so you can see inside of it. Lock. Alright, and I can freely move them. Funny, right? So let me, of course it can be rotated easily, like there's not a problem to rotate it. This one does not move, like I can move whole assembly just by pulling this basket out of it. But yeah, you can see like a lot of gap, and take into account I don't have some friction material on friction discs, right? But it's so much gap we have over here. It's not due to friction material I lost, but probably maybe it's due, I don't know. The spring is compressed, of course we can't see it here, but when I was tightening the bolts, so I compressed the spring. So yeah, okay, let me install the shaft and we'll see how it works with them. One more thing while I'm doing this, installing the shaft. Some people were thinking about why do we have some wide teeths and then small teeths, like why do we have wide ones, right? And the answer is quite simple. It's done because you have to have a space to have these holes. Like we have holes over here, but mainly we have a huge teeths, right? Just to be able to make these holes. So that's the answer. Nothing special. Nothing special at all. Just for oil. Alright, so I did it and check it out. It's sealed, right? So we don't have any gap. And if I try to move it, I hope you can hear the sound. This is friction discs and metal plates. So we have a lot of space, and of course I can hold my input or output shaft in this case with my hand and rotate this bearing quite easily. Not a problem at all. So in this case, if I assemble this transfer case, I don't think my front wheel will be engaged, because if I can do this with my hand, I don't believe this clutch will transfer any torque to my front wheels. But yeah, I guess maybe we'll oil pump. We'll just look at it here, right? We'll send some pressure and we'll squeeze it. Maybe, probably, I don't know. So it's all we have. Thanks.